Tomorrow night, I want you on that train.
Thank you.
6 o'clock, Linda. If you're not there, I have to leave without you.
Melanie Griffith is a secretary who becomes a spy alongside Michael Douglas in Shining Through, one of the new movies we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert. And we'll also take a look at the career of Sean Young, the actress whose controversial new film is Love Crimes. I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times.
Yeah, I think they've been picking on Sean Young too much, and we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune, and our first film is called Shining Through, an old-fashioned World War II melodrama that is a better love story than a fighting the Nazis espionage story. The best part of the film is the opening verbal byplay between would-be employee Melanie Griffith and her tough, mysterious boss-to-be, Michael Douglas.
You stand up and turn around, please.
Why should I do that?
Because you want the job. And I asked you to. It's a test I like to give.
Well, I'll take it sitting down.
Griffith, of course, is hired, and in a 1940s version of Working Girl, she becomes a great employee, figuring out that her boss is a spy for America.
How do you know all these things?
I might be a better spy than you are.
Where Shining Through goes wrong is when Griffith, the daughter of a Jewish father, decides she wants to spy on the Nazis too. Some corny dialogue here.
I want you to taste my strudel, the way my grandmother taught me to make it, and my apple compote. She taught me to cook German style, the way my grandfather likes it. And I could cook for 50 if I had to. 5 courses, the way they do it in Berlin. And on nights when they didn't have people over, I could bring tea and strudel up to the Drescher's study and put a little schnapps in the tea so that Horst and Hedda would get tired and could retire early, and I could be left alone in the study to clean up. This is not about you and me, damn it. I want to do something important with my life.
Eventually, she does go to Germany, and in scene after scene that seems false, she worms her way into the Nazi high command, working as a nanny. That try my strudel line is really kind of silly. The problem is, it doesn't work anymore, I don't think, to make a melodrama about World War II in general and the Nazis in particular. We know too much about that era. A movie without some real bite on those subjects can really come across as trivial. Now, I did like the chemistry between Michael Douglas and Melanie Griffith, so I guess what I felt at the end of Shining Through is a wish to see these two actors cast one more time together, but in a much more substantial movie.
You know, I kept trying to tell myself it was only a movie and I should try to enjoy it and suspend my disbelief a little bit. But how many, just as a general question, Gene, I don't know if you have an answer for this or not, how many times do you think an English-speaking spy could go into Nazi Germany and come out again by the ploy of pulling out a card saying, wounded war veteran, can't speak, and pointing at a blood-stained bandage around his throat? Yeah. How many times do you think that would work before somebody would catch you?
Do you know what I'm talking about, where this period of time, you can't play it this light?
Yeah, it's not dinner parties and serving the soup at the wrong temperature and being fired as the cook and then being hired as a nanny. You know, last week you were complaining that nobody would have hired that nanny in The Hand That Rocks the Cradle without a better interview. How much better chance do you think that a complete stranger would have of becoming the nanny to a top Nazi officer who lets her walk around the house while he has all the rocket plans in the basement? Pretty slim chance, I think.
Yeah, it's not very likely.
Okay, our next movie is named Hear My Song, and this one is a charming sleeper, a warm and rich comedy about the search for a legendary Irish tenor. It's one of those movies that comes out of left field and surprises us with its originality. Movie stars Adrian Dunbar as the fast-talking operator of a failing nightclub who will do anything to draw a crowd, even book an impersonator who spells his name almost like Frank Sinatra.
No. F-R-E-N-C.
C-I-N-A-T-R-A.
Show me.
Doesn't work. Fools them down south, Mickey.
The club is on the rocks, and in desperation, the owner gets taken in by an imposter who claims to be the famous tenor Joseph Locke, who has been missing for decades. That doesn't work either, and his landlord's a victim.
We needed a 2/3 majority to get you dismissed. We got 3/3. You're out.
Now it's a matter of pride, and in Ireland, he finally does track down the elusive Joseph Locke at a cattle auction. He tries to talk him into giving one final concert, and Locke is played here in a wonderful performance by Ned Beatty.
You see those girls, Mickey? Would you like to be responsible for their dreams?
Joseph Locke's comeback also means a return to the girl he loved and left back in 1958. She's played here by Shirley Ann Field.
Did he tell you you were the most beautiful woman he'd ever met?
Yes. Is that what you're going to say?
No. I'm just here. I'm just here to remind you that you are.
Here my song tells such an offbeat story it almost defies description, and when you do describe it, it probably sounds sort of corny. The search for a long-lost Irish tenor, the comeback concert, the love from 3 decades ago. It's hard to see how this material could be fresh or interesting, but it sure is. And this movie reminded me of films like Local Hero and My Left Foot in its offbeat approach to the personalities of its characters. I really got absorbed in it.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of publicity now because Ned Beatty is being pushed quite heavily to be a nominee for supporting actor in this film. But I think that people who focus just on Beatty, and he's the most commercial American element in the film, so I think that's what's going on, really. I think that if Ned Beatty never appeared in this picture, if they never
just as good,
it would be just as good, because the really beauty in this picture is, first of all, the performance by Adrian Dunbar is terrific, but it's the writing in this whole world of this failing little music hall and this little promoter who's you know, grasping and cynical and all this kind of stuff. Real bright writing. That's the good part.
You know, when I compared it to Local Hero, it does stand comparison, I think, because in both movies what you do is enter into a community of people who have ongoing relationships. They aren't just characters who have a role to play in the plot of the movie. They have all of these histories together, and they all get worked out along the way as we discover surprises that are funny and that are in character and that really, you know, are fun.
The main thing is it is original. Coming up later, a special commentary on controversial actress Sean Young. She may be kooky off screen, but how good is she on screen? No one talks about that. Coming up next, Oscar winner Denzel Washington's latest film.
So you think I ain't good enough for your daughter, is that it?
No, that's not it.
Well, Miss Masala, racism, or as they say nowadays, tradition, is passed down like recipes. Now, the trick is you got to know what to eat and what to leave on your plate.
That's Denzel Washington, the Oscar winner from the Civil War film Glory, and one of our most charismatic actors. He's in a good new film called Mississippi Masala, playing a carpet cleaning company owner who falls in love with a young East Indian woman, fetchingly portrayed by Sarita Choudhury.
I love him. That's not a crime, is it?
Her traditional immigrant parents are furious about this affair. This is a familiar scene in the movies, but we haven't seen it played out with an Indian family before.
I didn't do anything. They barged in.
Don't answer back. Have the decency, at least, to be sorry.
Here's a fine scene when Washington visits the young woman's all-American, family-run motel.
Mina is my only child. I don't want her to go through the same struggle as I did.
Struggle? Look, I'm a black man born and raised in Mississippi. Ain't a damn thing you can tell me about struggle.
What do you know about my...
No, I know. I know you and your folks can come down here from God knows where and be about as black as the ace of spades, and as soon as you get here, you start acting white and treating us like we're your doormats. I know that you and your daughter ain't but a few shades from this right here. That I know.
Mississippi Masala is a film about color differences, but it's also a beautifully colorful movie. Notice the shimmering colors as the two lovers walk and talk on the beach.
You got a good business. Ain't no reason to leave. This is the new Mississippi. I like it here.
It's not where I live. You know how many people come to our motel? They look at us. They say, not another damn Indian.
Mississippi Masala was directed by Mira Nair, whose previous film, Salam Bombay, also examined her Indian culture. This film is lighter in tone, a more traditional story, a sweet romance that makes a strong political statement nonetheless, with thoroughly appealing performers. I liked it a lot.
I liked it too because, you know, in this country we are a melting pot, and yet so many ingredients in the melting pot never ever appear in films. And everyone who lives in anywhere in the United States has been aware that there have been a lot of Indians who have immigrated to this country in recent years. They own motels, they own grocery stores, they own dry cleaners. Who are they? How do they feel about their traditions? How did they come here? This movie shows this family being thrown out of Uganda and having to come here almost broke and then starting all over again. And so the family life and the backstory of that family is as interesting really as the relationship between the two lovers.
It is, and it proves once again there are groups. Let me tell you, the Latino population is certainly massive in the United States, completely underrepresented in film.
That's right.
It takes an Indian filmmaker, frankly, to tell this story, and it's going to take Latino filmmakers to tell their story, and it's great to see it happen. Fresh characters for us as consumers of movies.
Very interesting film. Coming up next, the latest installment in a film that's been 35 years in the making.
What is your attitude towards marriage?
I don't want to answer that.
They don't answer questions like that.
They don't answer questions like that.
Why did you have a child out of a marriage that wasn't working?
Because I wanted to have more than one child.
That's a moment from our next film called 35 Up, the latest installment of one of the most fascinating documentary projects in movie history. When a group of British children were 7 years old, a film crew recorded their hopes, their fears, and their ambitions, and then the same kids have been revisited every 7 years by director Michael Apted as they grew up. We got 14 up, 21 up, 28 up, and now the latest installment as the kids of the mid-1950s coast into early middle age. One of the subjects, Tony, always dreamed of being a jockey. He got his dream, but it didn't work out, and now he drives a London taxicab.
I know, and I've always said it, there's never ever a thing in my life I've never set out to do that I've never achieved. I wanted to be a jockey, thank God. I rode on a race with Lester Piggott, and I did it. I wanted to be in the film game, I got in it. Working with Steven Spielberg for 2 weeks on one of his films. I made it happen on my terms, and now I can say I helped him. And I'm more stronger in that respect.
But you didn't pull it off. You didn't pull a jockey off. You haven't made it as an actor. You didn't pull off the pub.
Well, it's better to be a has-been than never was, wasn't it?
3 working-class women have been followed through the years, through adolescence, romance, marriage, and in some cases divorce. And at 35, they're fairly content with their lives.
So you 3 working-class girls don't feel bitter about a society that maybe gives one strata of it more opportunities than another?
No. Not bitter. Not at all. I don't even think, to be honest, we consciously think about it until this program comes up once every 7 years. I really don't think we even think about it. I do not sit there thinking, oh, he actually was born into money. He's had more opportunity. I mean, it just doesn't even cross my mind.
But we only had a limited choice anyway. I mean, truth be told, I mean, we didn't have the choice of private education because they couldn't have afforded it anyway. So
this is a movie that's as fascinating as a soap opera. I've seen earlier installments in the series, and I look forward to checking in again and finding out what the last 7 years have been like for these subjects. There was one man that I was really worried about, a reclusive loner, and I was relieved to find out on 35 Up that he's still alive and surviving fairly adequately at 35. On another level, this film is about the mystery of time and the magic of movies. It's amazing to see the same people at 7-year periods throughout their lives and to see how uncannily, in many cases, they were actually able, at the age of 7, to predict the directions that their lives were going to take.
Well, it's not that they were able to predict, it's that, I mean, the whole point of the film is, you know,
that it's in their nature.
That it's in their nature, and you stare. Now, what I like, it is like a mystery or like an investigation, and it's fabulous to look at, to stare at a 7-year-old. And when we see these scenes, these old scenes again, I mean, I'm sure I did exactly what everyone does in this picture. Is he going to be happy? Is he going to be sad? Are they going to be divorced? Are they going to get married? Will they have kids? All this classic stuff that we think about all the time, and to stare at it. And then, of course, you take your own internal measure.
Yes, you do.
I mean, that's the real thrill also is, while you're watching this picture, I mean, you got to be thinking about your own life. It's an energizing film on the screen and in the seats too.
You know, the film begins with a quote from the Jesuits: "Give me the boy until the age of 7, and I'll give you the man." And the one character I was talking about, the loner, at the age of 7, his ambition was he wanted to drive a bus and tell all the people what to look at.
Yeah.
And now he's 35 and he's living on this island off the coast of Scotland, and he's frustrated because they won't let him direct the village pageant, and he still wants to do the same thing,
control.
which is tell all the people what to do.
Yeah.
So that was part of his character that was
and you
built
wonder
in.
where that control freak quality came from, and it's a terrific picture. Coming up next, a special commentary on actress Sean Young. We hear more about her off-screen behavior than her on-screen performances. We'll discuss her next, strictly as an actress.
Pressure on me to censor you.
For what? Doing my job?
At age 32, actress Sean Young is better known in the press for her stunts like dressing up as the Catwoman on the Joan Rivers show to try and get a part in the new Batman picture, than really for her considerable talent as an actress. And I want to try to do something fresh regarding Sean Young, and that's review her as an actress. Her latest film, Love Crimes, is a sloppy thriller about a sexual terrorist who poses as a photographer and molests women. Young plays the assistant DA trying to catch him. The film isn't very good, but Young dares, as always, to dig inside herself for sexual conflicts, acting as bait.
This what you're looking for? You came to my place. Now come to yours.
A former teen model, Young played her first offbeat role in Blade Runner as an android who elopes with the man hired to kill her, Harrison Ford.
Do you like our owl?
It's artificial?
Of course it is.
Must be expensive.
Very.
Before we go much further, let's get out of here.
My dad's not going to like that much.
In her most successful starring role, she played Kevin Costner's lover in the political thriller No Way Out. But it is in pictures like The Boost, playing a drug addict, that Sean Young shows her special strength, playing characters who really go over the edge.
This isn't just talk, is it, Lenny?
You saw that kid back there. That could have been us like that.
And I can tell you.
What?
I'm pregnant.
You know, I'm not going to say that Sean Young is one of our very greatest actresses, but she sure does take as many risks as any of the great ones. And in these very conservative and safe times for American movies, I don't think Sean Young deserves being thought of as a freak. I hope in the coming decade she focuses on her movies and that the media does too. She's good for the movies.
Well, you know, when you were mentioning The Boost, I think that was one of the great female performances of recent years.
Yes,
and I've liked Sean Young consistently in her career, although I agree with you that Love Crimes is not a distinguished movie.
It isn't.
And in fact, it's a mess.
Yeah.
But, you know, so she dressed up as the Catwoman or the Batwoman and went on the Joan Rivers show. You know what? We live in pretty boring times.
I think so.
And I think if an actress is willing to do that and stick her neck out, everybody shouldn't laugh at her because, after all, of course she wants the role. And what's more honest, to dress up in the costume and go on TV, or have your agent try to pull strings in order to get the role for you? I think at least she's up front, and she has a real spirit that I admire.
It's the spirit that's missing in a lot of movies and in a lot of performers who, you know, are in there for the paycheck.
And that spirit comes on the screen sometimes. You can see it right there in the character she plays. Coming up next on our home video segment, the debut film of Mississippi Masala's director, Mira Nair. Now it's time for the video pick of the week, and my selection this week is inspired by our review of Mississippi Masala, the film about an East Indian family in the Deep South. This is the second feature by director Mira Nair, and her first film, Salam Bombay, was one of the best films I've seen in recent years. It tells the story of a street urchin in Bombay and how he lives, how he survives, what his world is like. It has the sound and look of absolute realism, but at the same time, there's romanticism in the story and the way these characters are so resilient, so quick to react to their world, and so determined to survive in a world that obviously cares nothing whatsoever for them. Salam Bombay is available on tapes and laser discs, and it's my video pick of the week. Now let's take another look at the movies we reviewed on this program. 2 thumbs down for Shining Through, the silly World War II drama that's ridiculous to the point of tastelessness. 2 thumbs up, though, for Hear My Song, the charming sleeper comedy directed by Peter Chelsom and written by him and Adrian Dunbar. It's a lovely film. 2 more thumbs up for Mississippi Masala, the story of an East Indian family in the South and their daughter's interracial love affair. 2 more thumbs up, way up for 35 Up, the latest chapter in a long-running documentary project by Michael Apted about human lifetimes. And finally, 2 thumbs down for Love Crimes, the badly confused sexual thriller, but thumbs up to the career of Sean Young as an actress who isn't afraid to take chances. And of course, one of the keys on this film, on this week's show, is that a lot of these films we like the best are moving around the country, one city at a time. You have to look for them when they get to your town.
One thing on Mississippi Masala, we may have made it sound like some kind of socio-political lecture. It is a very romantic film.
Yes,
Denzel Washington is totally engaging, and the woman in the film is too, Sarita Chidar.
You really care about these people.
They're
what
lovely.
They feel,
they're fun.
What they dream of, and whether they're going to get it or not.
It's fun.
That's right.
That's it for this week. Next week we'll be back with a special show we're calling Nolte and Sarandon, actors at the top of their form.
Sounds like a real stormy romance.
Oh, my.
We'll take a look at the careers of 2 of our favorite performers who are front-runners for Oscar nominations this year. Of course, Nick Nolte and Susan Sarandon. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.
Shower yourself with a new sensation, new refreshing Shield. Experience its unique skin-vigorating formula and feel the blast of pure refreshment. Nakano seasoned rice vinegar, a ready-to-use dressing, no oil, cholesterol, or fat. A healthy dressing for the 90s from Nakano. It's America's favorite jelly bean, Jelly Belly, now appearing at theaters and video stores with good taste. Jelly Belly beans, try them, you'll love them. Rice-A-Roni, any day of the week the flavor can't be beat. Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat.